Hey guys, welcome to Vlogmas Day 6. That's right, it's Vlogmas Day 6. Can't believe we're 6 days into this already. Today we are going to be talking just a little bit about podcast artwork and what makes good quality artwork and things that you should think about when you're creating your podcast artwork. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about today is where is artwork used. So there's two different places that the artwork is going to be, actually three different places that the artwork is going to be used. Your show art, your episode art, and your chapter art. So show art is going to be where you're, anywhere that you're going to have, it's going to be like your overall art for your show. It's going to be used in the podcast listings. It's going to show in your podcast app, things like that. The second one is going to be your episode art. And so each different episode can have different episode art for like as a cover for when it's playing. So I do this for my podcast because I like to have it so the guest for that episode is right on in your podcast app. So it's easy to see and differentiate which different episodes are different. They can see the guest, see what the guest looks like, things like that. And then the last is chapter art. So you can chapter your MP3 a couple different ways. Lots of different apps use it. The new Podcasting 2.0 standard has like a JSON cover, JSON file that displays that. But what's nice about that is then if you have different chapters, so like if you have for instance, in my podcast, we have an interview, I put the episode art for that one, but then there's a pop quiz and we have the pop quiz logo come up, different things, and that will display on your phone, that'll display in CarPlay, things like that. So that's the three different places that the artwork is going to be used. The size requirements though are you can have anywhere from a 1400 by 1400 pixel art or 3000 by 3000 pixel art. It needs to be square, so exactly square dimensions, and it needs to be 1400 by 1400 or 3000 by 3000. 3000 by 3000 is really, it's a huge file, but it's really where I would go with that because lots of TVs and things now have podcast players in them, and you want your art to be looking good on every single location that's going to be displayed. So those are your requirements. Now, what makes a good artwork is, for one, it's going to be, if it's going to be successful, it needs to make visual impact. It needs to draw listeners in, and it needs to be simple and legible. So a couple of things you need to think about is it should contain your logo, your show name, and any key art that you have. So whether that's, it's a logo, something big though. You want your text to be very large because you want it to be, think about it on your phone. If you're scrolling through the directory listings, a lot of times that artwork is really small, and so you want to be able to read it. You don't want super thin fonts in there. Either you want kind of big blocky fonts. That way you can see it and you can read it. You can see it and read it on a small time when it doesn't have to be very large. When it's not very large. And then you also want to use graphics that make sense with your show. You don't want to use graphics that are going to make people go, what the heck is that? You want to be able to have things that make sense with your show. You don't want, if your show is about podcasting, you probably don't want to have a hockey stick on there. Just saying. So you definitely want to do that. Some things that you want to not do or avoid is you want to avoid putting important art elements at the bottom fifth of your image, as they may be obscured by the playing progress things, labels, or subscription offerings. So you don't want to have anything at the very bottom of your podcast in the bottom fifth, and I think that's very key. You don't want to have anything that's blurry or pixelated. You want it to be very clean. You want it to look good. You really don't want explicit language either. Well, it's possible to have explicit language. I wouldn't do it just because it's going to turn people off. Now, I mean, definitely mark your show as explicit if you're going to be using explicit language, but don't put that on your cover because that's something that can be Googled and people are going to see that. Kids are going to see this. You really don't want to do that. You don't want to use placeholders either. So you don't want to have this generic, just like, I don't want to say logo, but something that's generic that that's not gonna make sense. Just like coming soon or something like that. You don't want that in your artwork. You want to actually have artwork for your show. You also don't want to have ads or sponsor logos in your art either, because it may change, things like that, and you really don't want that coincided with your art. So that's what I would say as far as having good artwork for your show. It's critical. So with that, guys, thanks for listening to the Vlogmas Day 6.